And honestly, I'm quite impressed with all the initiatives you've taken to promote entrepreneurship here at the Jaipuria Institute. And being here reminds me of my own college days. The one difference which I noticed when I was in college, we didn't have mobiles. Today when I was sitting there, I was just looking back, almost everybody was having a mobile in your hands. So that's quite an interesting thing. I hope I was in college at this point of time. So it's the beginning of a new chapter for all of you. I'm sure all of you must be very excited. You must have all thought of the different things you're going to do once you're done with your MBA course. Some of you would be thinking of joining a family business. Some of you would be thinking of starting off something new of your own. And most of you would be thinking of taking up a corporate job. So whatever you do, wish you all the best. And before I start, let me ask you a question. So who all, out of all of you present here, would like to be an entrepreneur? Okay, quite a lot. So you've got a good team. You're going to have a lot of e-managers with you. So any specific reason any one of you can share with me why you want to be an entrepreneur? Anybody?
Make it on an interactive mode and still a lot better for you.
Yeah, so whoever here raised their hand who wants to be an entrepreneur, if you could just share a few things because of which you have thought to be an entrepreneur, it's going to be quite nice. Yes?
I want to thank you for my state.
For your state? You're from which state?
Guwahati, Assam.
Okay, so what is it that you really want to do?
Actually, I want to open a food chain restaurant.
Okay.
So, from there, I want to open in the whole part of India.
That's very nice. So this is something you want to do right after your college, or you want to work for a while and then
I
start?
want to work for a company and learn how to compete with others and everything.
Okay.
Everything.
Great.
Learn from them.
On the best.
I can.
Right. Good idea. Anybody else?
Planning on doing something in green energy.
Okay.
That's just a plan.
That's a
I'll
new
work for a
concept
while,
and I think
then
it's going to do very well in India.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah. Okay, so let me start by sharing my story with you. It might be a little boring for you guys, but then you have no option but to listen. I was born in Delhi in a conservative Punjabi family. My parents always wanted me to do a simple BA, but then when I was in school, I always thought, yes, doing BA is going to be a good enough thing for me. But by the time I was in class 12, I knew I had to do something more than a plain BA. Luckily, I scored very well in class 12, got admission in Delhi University in a college of my choice. That was Sri Venkateshwara College, South Campus. And after I finished college, I joined the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and I finished my CA in flat 3 years. But my family, they had warned me in the beginning itself, once you fail, you'll have to quit CA and you'll have to get married. But then that wasn't my idea. Luckily, I could do CA in 3 years flat. I got my CA degree, and after that, I started looking up for some jobs. Initially, I worked with some smaller companies, and finally, when I left my job, I was in Fortis, working as a financial controller. Most of you would have heard about Fortis because there's a Fortis hospital right next door. So Fortis is one of the biggest private healthcare providers in India. They have 54 super specialty hospitals and they have a capacity of 10,000 patient beds. They also have 260 diagnostic centers in India, Dubai, Mauritius and Sri Lanka. My job required a lot of responsibility and late working hours, but then I used to love working with numbers. I used to love preparing financial statements, budgets, all the reports required, so I used to enjoy my job. But somehow after a few years, after 15 years of working, I started finding it monotonous. I knew it was time for me to move on in life. I had always wanted to be more than a secure job. I must admit that leaving a well-paying job was not easy. There's a secure area, you have your careers defined, you're working towards them, you have your annual appraisals, promotions. The entire career path has been laid out by your predecessors. All you're doing is just moving on it, maybe in a slightly different way, but by and large the track remains the same. So So that's when I started, I thought one fine day, that's it, I have to move on. It had to be now or never. With most of the management books which we read, one key character of a successful business person was the ability to take risks. I had made up my mind to do something of my own. Every day I used to dream of an idea, work on it, do a lot of research, discuss it with my family and friends, and another day come up with another idea. But then the only thing which was same all throughout was the positive thought of doing something distinctive of my own. I never lost focus and energy, and I guess this paid me off very well. I love traveling and meeting people. Although I had traveled in a lot of different countries all over the world, but then the holidays I enjoyed the most were the holidays I spent in India. In India, there's a different kind of a warmth. We have a long history, we have diverse cultures, different religions, different cuisines, different lifestyles, and all these captivated me. But somewhere I felt that when the foreign tourists visit India, they are mainly shown the regular places and sites. Rather, India has so much more to experience. Based on this, I came up with an idea of starting a tour company to offer unique experiences to tourists. I started a company along with another lady, Taruna, who has done full-time MBA from the University of Notre Dame in the United States. And together we started this company which we named When in India. I'm sure just by the name would know what the company would be trying to do. The idea was to start with unique activities which give a glimpse of our exceptional country in a way that is enriching, enjoyable, and memorable. Some experiences one can experience only when one is in India. Our first idea was to start luxury rickshaw tours in Old Delhi. We are the first one to conduct organized rickshaw tours in India. Our tours are based on a unique concept. They have been covered in a lot of newspapers, TV channels, and magazines. We are also one of the top ranking tours on TripAdvisor, and we are also one of the top 50 trips in the world by most of the magazines, the most prominent one being Outlook Traveler. The whole concept might sound a little strange initially, starting a rickshaw tour, and you might think it must have been a little simple, but then the planning and operating the entire logistics was a tough job. We had to face a lot of problems initially. Anybody who would start an entrepreneurial venture would have the basic initial problems. So the biggest problem was the criticism from the close family members, friends and colleagues. From being the financial controller of one of the topmost healthcare company to organizing rickshaws in Old Delhi was a very strange shift. Many people, including my parents and my ex-boss, thought I must be crazy to start something like this. But I loved the idea and always wanted to start something matchless which would not only be financially beneficial for me, but also would be satisfying. Something which I would always be proud of and at the same time would be gratifying for the poorest of the society. I really wanted to work at the core. Apart from the criticism, the initial startup was also not easy. We were planning to start something in a male-dominated area, deal with rickshaw pullers who were uneducated and resisted working under a woman. Training them was not easy. Licenses had to be obtained from the MCD. The local police had to be taken in confidence. Insurances had to be procured from the rickshaw, for the rickshaws and the tourists and so on. In fact, when we contracted the insurance agent, they had never heard of anything like that. They kept looking up under which head they're going to be insuring the rickshaws. So we kept chasing them and they kept avoiding us. We spent a lot of time choosing the appropriate design of the rickshaws. MCD has its own specs and we cannot change them. So we had to design safe and comfortable rickshaws within the design parameters of the MCD. We even went through a lot of e-rickshaws. Although when we started it, e-rickshaws was not very popular, but then we did explore it completely. But then we thought that we wanted to keep it more authentic and closest to the actual scenario. We needed a nearby space or garage for storage of the rickshaws when they were not in use. We also needed a mechanic which was ready every time just in case a rickshaw breaks down and for the routine checkups. The most difficult part of the entire journey was changing the mindset of people. We wanted to cater to a luxury tourist, a niche segment to whom Old Delhi was a mystery, and they had read about it in books but never had the courage to go and venture it on their own. Convincing the hotels and the travel agents was a humongous task. When we started this, no good travel agent would include Old Delhi in their itinerary of the travelers. For them, Old Delhi was just limited to sightseeing of the Red Fort or Jama Masjid Mosque. The hotel concierge would warn their guests about going to Old Delhi area, saying that they would be robbed or they would be fleeced, they would be surrounded by beggars. They would also tell them not to eat anything there, rather than sharing the gastronomic wonders of Old Delhi. This preconceived idea of Old Delhi made things very difficult for us, but slowly and gradually we could change the mindset of people. Slowly and gradually people started considering Old Delhi beyond Red Fort and the mosque. They started considering it to be a safe and comfortable place without being fleeced by the shopkeepers and handled by the beggars there. We had a lot of different ideas in mind, a lot of different places, but then we thought we would start with Old Delhi, as it is one of the most fascinating cities in the world. From outside, it looks dirty and chaotic, but when looked behind the curtain, it's a beautiful city. I don't know how many of you have been there, probably some of you would be from out of the city, but whoever must have been there must have realized it's a beautiful city, but then quite dirty. I do not know how many of you would be knowing that the city of Delhi has been built and destroyed around 8 times. Now that you are here, you should keep exploring all the different cities. The first one was built in the year 2500 BC, and it was built by the Pandavas. It's called during the time of Mahabharata. The latest one, all of you would be knowing about it, is New Delhi, built in 1911. Old Delhi was built in 1640 and its original name is Shah Jahanabad. It was built by a Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan, who is the same person who built the magnificent Taj Mahal. At that time, the most beautiful city in the world was Isfahan, which is in Iran. So Shah Jahan wanted to give competition to Isfahan, so he laid the foundation of Shah Jahanabad, and it was actually the most beautiful city in Asia when it was built. One can see different layers of changing architectural styles there. There are some splendid Mughal architecture monuments, Indo-Islamic style of architecture. There are buildings with British style of Victorian architecture. One can even find Gothic architecture there. Some of the Havelis there have been identified as heritage Havelis, and still they look fascinating with the intricately carved facades and the German tiles and the Belgian glasses. It has some of the splendid monuments like the Red Fort and the Jama Masjid Mosque. The Red Fort, which is a fort cum palace, is the largest non-functional fort in the world. It is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Our first Prime Minister, Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru, declared India's freedom standing at the ramparts of the fort and gave his historic speech Tryst with Destiny there. An inscription by a famous poet, Amir Khusro, on one of the walls of the fort describes the city as, if there is a paradise on earth, it is this, it is this, it is this. Apart from these magnificent monuments, Old Delhi also boasts of a maze of narrow lanes and by-lanes with beautifully decorated shops, and every gully, kucha and katra has a story to tell. Let me add here that Chandni Chowk Street, which is the main street of Old Delhi, used to be a beautiful street with a canal of water running through it. There were trees lining both the sides, there were fountains at major intersections, and in the center of the street there was a huge pool of water, and the pool of water used to beautifully reflect the moonlight in the evenings. So a lot of people would gather there in the evenings to enjoy the reflection of the moon, and that's how it got its name Chandni Chowk, which means the moonlit square. A famous poet, Mir Taqi Mir, who was in the Shah Jahan's court, he once wrote that the streets of Old Delhi are not mere streets, they are like the album of a painter. They are very bright and colorful. Even today also, if you go and visit the bazaars, quite vibrant. The streets have also flown red with blood. It has seen massacres of the innocent, it has seen martyrdom of the religious gurus and of the freedom fighters, yet the same streets have also seen the joy of freedom. It has some of the largest wholesale markets. The spice market and the electronics market there is the Asia's largest. It is very popular for the religious shrines there. It is one of the most secular streets in the world. It has so many religious places coexisting right next to each other. on the same street for so many centuries. They all participate in the festivities of each other with equal enthusiasm. All the religious places there, no matter what religion they belong to, they try to help the society. They keep distributing free food, free clothes, they organize shelter camps, healthcare camps for the poor people, and that's the reason why there's a huge concentration of poor people here. Many a time people tell me, New Delhi is quite modern, and Old Delhi is very different. I mean, so many poor people and very dirty and chaotic. But this is one of the reasons, because when the poor people, they come from the nearby villages, it's much easier for them to settle down in Old Delhi because of all these religious places which take care of the poor people. They get a little settled and then they move to the other parts of Delhi. I'm sure you would be knowing that India has given birth to 4 different religions. Can anybody tell me? The 4 religions which were born in India? Hinduism, Sikhism,
Buddhism,
not Christianity,
Buddhism,
Christianity, Perfect. So these are the 4 religions which were born in India. So we should be a very proud country. And out of these, Hinduism is the oldest living religion in the world, and nobody knows when it was founded. It has no record. It's more of a belief. Apart from this, the residents here are very warm and welcoming. There is a saying that nobody sleeps hungry in Old Delhi. Even if somebody would knock at your door at 12 o'clock at night, the people there would make sure that to serve them some food. One can also see the old practices and traditions being followed there. Even while you're walking on the streets, you will see people worshipping the sun. You will see people feeding the cows. You will see many tree temples there. So also all these old practices are dying in the other parts of Delhi, but Old Delhi is still proudly maintaining them. I need not speak at all about the unlimited food options available there. As most of you must have tried the mutton at the Rames, parathas at the Paranthi Wali Gali. Have you been there? Yes. Okay. Right, great. The jalebis at Jalebi Wala. Khalla at the Nakraj Khalla. How many of you are from Delhi? Not many. So the other, all of you, you're not from Delhi, you should go to Chandni Chowk, try to come on my tour as well. Okay, so apart from all these things, there are a lot more things to eat there. Even this travel thousands of kilometers just to have food there. So it's the food which kind of changed your mood. Till now everybody was in a little boring mood. We all have read about the gastronomy wonders of Old Delhi, and our very own Michelin star chef, Mr. Vikas Khanna, he is the only Michelin star chef from India, has often spoken and admired the same. So something which should not be missed. So this is one reason we chose Old Delhi, and I've already told you the reason why we chose the rickshaws. So let me now share with you the few things that makes our tour the signature highlight of most of the tourists coming to Old Delhi. So when a tourist is coming to Old Delhi and they want a safe experience, the only option is our tour. Otherwise they can just walk around, there are many walking tours, but then this is the only organized rickshaw tour of Old Delhi. We realized that there had to be more safe and comfortable way of exploring the city. There are many walking tours being conducted, but then it's not easy to walk there comfortably. The traffic there is bad, the streets are usually dug up, and there's a lot of encroachments and beggars. As people are getting a niche luxury segment, they would in any case not like to walk there. We had to think of a better way of exploring the city, and after considering everything, we decided on rickshaws. They are the best way to move around in the city because they are eco-friendly, easily navigable on the narrow streets. Usually now found in the western countries, the people have an excitement of boarding a rickshaw. One feels like a part of the city and still one is distant from the chaos there. We also had to ensure that the guests who are taking our tour had to be on the tour for 3 hours. They are comfortable on the rickshaws. So we got the rickshaws specially designed. We equipped them with spacious sofa seats. We added extra things like collapsible canopies for an uninterrupted view, as the old architecture in Old Delhi can be seen in the upper floors. So if the canopies are not collapsible, you would be missing out the beautiful architecture there. We fitted them with chillers for cold water. The rickshaw body had to be very heavy, it had to be better balanced and better suspended. We added first aid boxes, seat belts, handrails for safety. We did a lot of research on finalizing the different routes. There are so many interesting places there and one can spend an entire week. We met many local residents, read a lot of books, met a few historians, and even actively involved a history lecturer of Delhi University. We designed different tour routes there based on the interest of the guests. Currently, there is a group tour which runs every day in the morning with 15 to 20 guests. Then we have a special tour which is based on the religions of India, in which we take the guests to a mosque, we take them to a Hindu temple, a Sikh temple, a Christian church, and a Jain temple. There is a tour specially designed for the kids wherein we participate in pigeon flying. We take them to a factory where they make kites, as kite flying is a very popular hobby in Old Delhi. Everybody wants to climb on the terrace and fly kites. We also take them to the birds hospital there. There is also a food tour, a spices and scents tour, and a shopping tour. So all this said and done, communicating with the different rickshaws was a problem because when the rickshaws are moving, it's not possible for the guide to speak to them and tell them what they're seeing. So we equipped the guide with a transmitter and each guest was given a wireless headset. They could get live commentary from the guide while the rickshaws were moving without being disturbed by the honking and the chaos. I still personally guide some tours to interact with the guests and take feedback on improvement. We also show them some old pictures and maps of the city and we make them imagine how beautiful the city was at one point of time. One of the most difficult tasks, apart from convincing the people, was searching for the rickshaw drivers. The rickshaw drivers had never heard of something like this. Taking instruction for a woman was a big no-no for them initially. Most of them would take tobacco and alcohol even when they would come on duty. So we had to convince them to quit it completely. Finally, after a lot of hard work and after a lot of persuasion, we could rope in 10 rickshaw pullers. Their training continued for a couple of months. They were taught to be well-groomed and polite. They were also given training in English. And at that time, it was difficult to get the rickshaw pullers, but today when I'm walking on the streets of Old Delhi, dozens of them approach me and they want to be a team member. We have included an exclusive visit to a heritage Haveli, which was built in the year 1860. It has Mughal architecture. We also added a photo gallery there with the help of a local historian. And in that photo gallery, we have added real pictures of the city of the mid-17th century. The guests can interact with each other and with us and ask us whatever questions they have at the Haveli. It's a huge place and a very nice place to just hang around and have some tea. The local residents are also invited to have a lively chat with the guests over a cup of chai. Each guest is also given a book in Old Delhi, which has been exclusively designed for the tour. It covers all the places which we show on the tour and it gives a background of the city. The book also has one of the oldest available maps of the city. So these are the things we thought were necessary to make the tour interesting and to make the tour comfortable for everybody. Okay, so all this was not easy. I mean, it was a long journey. It had many bumps, but by the end of it, it was a very rewarding experience. With this business, I could get the satisfaction that I had started something of my own and I have been a pioneer in my own field, in my own way. We could generate employment for many rickshaw pullers. Apart from getting a good pay, they are treated with respect. They are given grooming allowance, mobile allowance, uniform allowance, and bonuses. Not to mention, they get a lot of tips from the foreign guests. We have made a special fund for them from which they can withdraw money at any point of time they need. I would like to share the story of one rickshaw puller with you. His name is Agam. He is in his 40s but a very hard-working guy. And he works so hard to make sure that his children have a comfortable life. So when his son did his schooling, he brought him to us and he requested us to absorb him in the company. We interacted with him and we realized that he had a much better potential than joining as a rickshaw driver. So we supported his education and today he is soon going to be an electronics engineer. That way is now more and more rickshaw pullers, they want to send their children to schools. Earlier they would say, बड़े होके यही काम करना है तो क्या फायदा, but now they have a good example right in front of them, right in between them. So Agan's life story has also been covered in a travel magazine run by Sita. On one Sunday in every month, we arrange a tour for the street kids. They love being on the rickshaws and pampered. They are given chips and coke while the rickshaws are moving, and at the end of the tour, we take them to the Haveli, where we arrange food for them, and we also arrange for some games, and we organize a small dance party for them. On regular days, when a caravan of rickshaws are in progress, the street kids, they feel very happy as they will feel a part of us and they nicely wave to us. We also support an NGO in Old Delhi, which is dedicated towards the upliftment of the local street kids. We also encourage a lot of foreign guests to contribute to the NGO in cash and kind. Another thing which makes me feel proud, it makes me feel good, is the fact that we are like the ambassadors of India. We try to give a memorable experience to all the guests and give them a glimpse of the rich history and culture of our country. We are also approached by a lot of NRI families who have their roots in India to take them and their kids on the tour and give them a glimpse of the culture of the city of which they were a part of. When we started the tour, we were invited by Ms. Sheila Dikshit, the ex-Chief Minister of Delhi, and felicitated for our startup. We have also been very lucky to have some important dignitaries on our tour. I will share some of the feedbacks with you. So the first feedback is by the ex-ambassador of the United States in India, Ms. Nancy Powell. After the Modi government, we have a new ambassador now. So what she wrote is, thank you so much for a very special look at the manufacturing. Thank you. It has been a wonderful way to understand the history and culture. Then we also got the French ambassador. He wrote, thank you so much for welcoming me in this charming and historical place. You deserve respect and recognition for your work and preservation of this valuable piece of Delhi's history. Ms. Inkeri Saikin, who is the spouse of the Finnish ambassador, said professionally organized tour, very good audio guides, excellent interpretation and story of Old Delhi and connection to the history of India. Old Delhi trips as a whole was an experience we really enjoyed and wouldn't like to miss. So these are just few testimonials. So now, after 4 years of operation, we have a lot of good associations. We are working with some of the best 5-star hotels in India. We're also working with a lot of hotels in Paharganj. So we get a mixed group of people coming on our tours now. Here I mentioned 3 of them. The Oberoi Hotel. They have listed our tours as the most recommended Oberoi experience on their website. The Taj Mahal Hotel has introduced a new package called the Old Delhi Tour Package, in which the key attraction is our tour. The Leading Hotels of the World website, which is a hospitality consortium that represents over 430 hotels and resorts and maintains offices in 24 countries nationwide, also recommends the tour. Travel agents, which were a big no-no in the beginning, they didn't want to send their guests in Old Delhi. Now finally we've managed to open quite a good number of travel agents. Here I mentioned the top 3 travel agents of Delhi. All of them are associated with us. Kuwani, which has recently taken over Sita. Select World Tours, popularly known as LPTI or La Passage. Thomas Cook. So these are some of the top ones. Otherwise, now since the tour operators think they've got no other option, so they have to be associated. Other associations are the American Embassy, the French Embassy, the Embassy of Spain. Whenever they have dignitaries visiting India and they want to send them to Old Delhi, they contact us. We get members from the UNESCO, UN, UNICEF, WHO, World Bank, Bill Gates Foundation, Microsoft, and some more other corporates. Delhi Network, it is a 20-year-old expat group. So whenever some new expats, they are coming to India, they give them an orientation, and during that orientation, they send them to our tour. Then TripAdvisor, I don't know how many of you have heard about it, but it's a very good travel website. Most of the people these days who travel, they refer TripAdvisor. So TripAdvisor takes direct feedback from the guests So it's supposed to be a very authentic website. So on TripAdvisor, one can go and give feedbacks about whatever tours they've taken, whatever experiences they've had, and the guests can rate the tours on the basis of excellent to poor. Excellent would mean 5 stars, poor would mean 1 star. So till now we have 460 reviews, out of which 450 are excellent and 10 are very good. So out of the 200 tours listed in Delhi, ours is always one of the top 3. It keeps changing. Then Viator, which is one of the topmost international travel websites, also lists our tours. They have a lot of strict selection criteria for listing the tours on their website. And then ClearTrip, which is one of India's topmost travel sites. So all set up and done. Now we are looking at the future plans. We have already explored and the blueprint is ready for starting the tours in Hoskar village. We are working on Mehrauli and New Delhi areas. We are planning to start similar experiences in other historical cities like Varanasi, Mathura, Vrindavan, Jaipur and Agra. There's a big travel company, they want us to start the travel experience, the tour experience in Varanasi along with them. They also want us to start boat tours in Varanasi because Varanasi has the river Ganges. We have also been invited by Delhi Tourism quite a few times to work on the module of Jama Masjid and Red Fort Corridor. Then, rickshaw tours was just one of the ideas. We have many more ideas. So, most of them I can't share with you right now. After all, after 2 years, you're going to be an entrepreneur probably. So, these are some pictures I brought here. In this, you can see the map of Old Delhi. As you can see, it's a very well located city right on the banks of river Yamuna. The river was used for transportation earlier. One could go from Delhi to Agra using the river. You can see the whole city had a wall around it, very nicely fortified. And then you can see the Red Fort, you can see the Jama Masjid Mosque, and then a lot of other places. So this is one of the oldest available map of the city. This was in black and white. We recently got it photoshopped and made it colored. This is a picture of the guests on the rickshaws. So the rickshaws are safe, comfortable and attractive. Luxurious and spacious. These are the colorful bazaars. So it's good fun to be in Chandni Chowk. These are 2 pictures of the kids tour. Most of the schools in Delhi, they also recommend our tours during the beginning of the summer vacation because for the kids, just going to the mall or seeing a movie is the best thing the kids can do. But then, if they want to look a little beyond, the parents and teachers really want them to be aware of the history associated with Delhi. These are our drivers. This is the Haveli I was talking about. It's a beautiful Haveli with Mughal architecture, a lot of area to sit and relax around. This is the photo gallery. We usually lay up a food buffet there, and in the food buffet we get food from all the popular eateries of Old Delhi. This is a group of students from Principia College, Illinois. So we keep getting a lot of students from the different universities who are studying history of India or Delhi. These are some pictures of the tours which we arrange for the street kids every one Sunday in a month. I'll even walk you through some of the media coverages. We've been lucky enough to be identified by a lot of newspapers, magazines and TV channels. So this particular article came up in the Outlook Traveler magazine, in which they did a study in the entire world of all the different tours, and they considered us to be one of the top 50 tours in the world. This was an article in the Times of India, Segue to Rickshaws, Tourists off the Beaten Track. This was an article in Deccan Herald, Reliving the Golden Era. This was an article in Indian Journey. This is the only Indian travel magazine with international circulation. So they did a cover story on us. Almost 50% of the pages of the magazine was covered with our pictures. Leisure rickshaw ride of a lifetime. This is the Sunday Standard, the Sunday newspaper of the Indian Express. Take a tour on designer rickshaws. Navbharat Times, Shahi Rickshaw par Chandni Chowk ki sair. Outlook Lounge, this is the airport magazine of Outlook. Heritage Rickshaw Tours of Shahjahanabad, Amar Ujala, अब शाहीन रिक्शे से दिल्ली 6 का सफर. These are two articles which came up in travel magazines. The first one is called Distant Frontiers, and the second one was in the Sita's travel magazine. And this is the article I was talking about, A Day in the Life of Agam. So here you can see the picture of Agam as well. This article appeared in Sunday Times. So this was my story of trying and testing my entrepreneurial skills. I hope you would also have something to take back from it, and I'm sure someday you would also dare to dream and do something out of the box, not only for yourself but for the society at large. In fact, if you have any ideas, you've got a wonderful entrepreneurial cell here, you can contact them. And you can even contact me if you have any ideas relating to this. You can send me an email directly on Ritu Kalra, RITUKALRA @weninIndia.com. You could even visit our website www.weninIndia.com, and you can even visit our Facebook, and in case you like it, you can like it. Okay, so in case any one of you has any questions, yeah. I left my job in August 2010 and I started working on this, and I started this in the first month of 2011.
How much initial investment was needed for you to start up this type of business?
Honestly, this type of business is more of service oriented, less of capital oriented. So me and my partner, we initially started with 5 lakh rupees each. We started with only 5 rickshaws, and every year we added 5 rickshaws. So now we have 20 rickshaws. But then we have a tie-up with a contractor there who manufactures rickshaws. So in case we want more rickshaws than 20, he provides them to us. Any more? Would anyone of you like to come on the tour? Very few? Okay. So you're most welcome.